I am live. I'm reading out of Eyes of Horus. It is a book by Joan Marshall Grants. She was a writer of her own far memories. This is her incarnation as Ra-up, an heir to the nomarch of the Oryx. He is here about 18 or 19. He is in the royal city. Heliokios has died. He watched the embalming with the royal embalmer, and he is traveling to find other potential watchers. This is part 5 of the book, and the chapter I had started was Treasure of the Grain, and I finished that chapter in the middle because of my battery. So I'm continuing Treasure of Grain. And it is Ramoes who explains his idea of how the trading should work, because Egypt is very corrupt. Every man should profit according to his work, and he should be protected when this is destroyed by Nut. Under our present system, in a year of plenty, a man may grow so many lettuces, or catch such great hauls of fish, that he can find no one with whom to barter them. And in a bad year he goes hungry because he has nothing to trade. He had no durable treasure, and the treasure which should be his, grain, which will last for several years, in the hands of the rulers. Through tradition, a fish has a fixed value in exchange for vegetables, and this value remains unchanged even though the river may have yielded little to the nets, while the gardens have given a heavy crop. When this happens, the man with the lettuces suffers with the fisherman, for as long as one cannot afford to buy, the other cannot sell. Father says that every nome should be divided into districts, each small enough for a market overseer to know all the conditions, such as the weather and the state of the water channels, that have affected each particular group of produce. Each of these groups, vegetables, fruit, milk, cattle, wildfowl, will have a sliding scale of values, both to each other and within the group. For instance, each variety of vegetable will have a set value in relation to every other kind of vegetable, and these will be adjusted according to how the season has affected each variety. Every 30 days a new scale of barter will be set up in the markets. It will be painted on the wall, in picture signs, not hieroglyphics, so that all can read it. At the top of each scale there will be a circle, meaning that any one of the units painted below it can be exchanged for a unit on any other scale, and below the circle will be the relative value of the things to be found in that part of the market. For instance, in the vegetable market there might be first a picture of an onion, and below it 4 lettuces, and below that 15 radishes, and below that a bunch of pot herbs, and so on through every kind. And it would be the same in every other part of the market, so that if you wanted to change a melon for vegetables, you would first go to the fruit part and see how many melons were painted below the circle. And then in the vegetable part you could see how many circles worth of vegetables you could get in exchange. It would be easy enough for everyone to understand, much better than having to go from stall to stall, haggling and being cheated, and going away discontented because you had seen another woman getting better value, or else feeling virtuous because you had cheated someone who was less shrewd at bargaining. I've often gone to the markets to find out conditions for father. If I went dressed as one of the house servants, and I've seen a woman spend more time haggling over the value of a piece of linen than it would have taken her to weave it. What happens when too many vegetables come to market, or all the women want to buy fish instead of eggs, or fruit instead of honeycomb? But they would still be better off than they are at present. But I haven't yet come to the important part of Father's idea. If you have been to many markets, you must have noticed the piles of rotting food that no one was able to sell, though at the same time there were people going sadly away because they hadn't got enough to exchange for what they needed. Father can cure all that, and when the Watchers are in power, he will cure it. Until then it wouldn't be possible, because it would get too much opposition from those who are profiting under the present system. In the future, there will be an official of the granaries at every market, and after the people have bartered among themselves, everything that is left unsold will be taken to the official and exchanged for grain. And this grain they can keep until they have need of it, as the rich people keep their gold. What will the official do with all the things he has taken in exchange for grain? They will be distributed among those who cannot earn their own livelihood, the old people and orphans, the cripples and the sick, all those who now have to wait on charity or starve. Supposing there was more food than all the people could use. I don't think there ever would be, but if there was, it would be more just that Pharaoh should bear the burden of its being wasted than this should be borne by the people who had worked to make it grow. If it were found that there was always too much of one kind of food, the people who now produce it could turn to another trade. That wouldn't be difficult to arrange. Think what a difference it would make to you and me, Raab, if we were poor. Say we had a little garden and had worked so hard to make it bear a good crop so that our children should not go hungry. Nut is kind, and we see that there are many basketfuls to carry to the market. What should we feel like if we had to throw it away because no one wanted it? Wouldn't it make all the difference if we knew we should get a fair value for our work? It would mean the difference between being happy and being frightened of the future all the time. It's a wonderful idea, Mary. Ramois is a watcher even if he's never interested in our philosophies, for a watcher is only someone who adds to the sum of human happiness instead of taking away from it. His name will be blessed by thousands and thousands of people all over Egypt, and the only people who will wish he had never been born are those who are turning other people's worry into wealth for themselves. Can we stop talking about the frog now, Raab? This is the end of this chapter. The second chapter is entitled Daughter of the Concubine, and the battery is already flashing again.